On our expert segment, we shall be speaking to Simon, an associate at MMC Africa. He'll be taking us through the legal steps you must take when buying a plot. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Nancy.
I want to have an overview. Today, Simon, we find that a lot of people buying plots don't know what they need to know. And so you go in, you just sign a document, you wait, and you haven't really got the steps. Could you take us through the steps? If I want to buy a plot, where should I begin with a lawyer?
Essentially, if you want to buy a plot, there are a number of steps that you have to go through. The first one is the due diligence. Just like buying any business, you have to do your homework. And by doing your homework, you must do your homework in respect of the ownership of the plot. You must do your homework in respect of the physical location of the plot. You must also do your homework in respect of the person who is selling this plot to you. In respect of the ownership of the plot, you must do a search at the lands registry to confirm that the owner who is selling the plot to you is in fact the one who is registered as such. Another thing that you also need to do in respect of the ownership is go ahead and check whether this land is in the Ndongo report, whether it has been adversely mentioned in the Ndongo report. This is where lawyers come in handy because they will assist you in all this. Another thing that you need to confirm is the person to whom is selling you this property. If it is a company incorporated at the company's registry, you do a search on that company to confirm whether it is indeed registered. If it is a cooperative society, you do a search at the registrar of societies to find out whether this cooperative society is really an existing entity or not. Another thing that you need to do, and in this one you engage a surveyor, is that you must do a search about your homework in respect of the physical location of the plot. What do I mean with this? You need to confirm where this plot is. You need to confirm the acreage, the size of this plot, and you need to confirm everything, the boundaries and the beacons. And this is where the surveyor comes in handy. You might buy, say, let's say plot number 6, and an agent of the seller will tell you that is plot number 6, and when you complete with the documents and you built your home, you only come to realize that actually what you bought according to the survey records office was plot number 28, and you've lost. So it is very, very important to engage a surveyor to do a survey report, and you should only be able to proceed once you have a positive search result from your advocate, you have a positive answer in respect of the Ndongo report, and you have a positive survey report from your surveyor.
At what point do I engage you as a lawyer?
You engage me from the word go. You engage me in respect of doing the searches at the lands registry, the company's registry, or the registry of societies when necessary, and also doing the search in the Ndongo report. I get into the picture from the word go.
In the transaction process, what documents should I expect from the seller of the plot?
The documents that you must have, first you must have a copy of the title from the seller. And also the seller or the seller's advocates are going to provide you with a copy of the letter of offer, and they are also going to provide you with an agreement for sale. These are some of the key documents in a sale transaction. Your advocate is going to go through the documents, the letter of offer and the agreement for sale, and they are going to exchange with the vendors, the seller's advocates, and when they come into an agreement as to the contents of the document, you are going to sign the letter of offer first, and then secondly sign the agreement for sale. Another key document is the transfer document, which is called the transfer instrument. This is the instrument that transfers the interest from the seller to yourself.
At what point will you advise me on my exit in the event that I'm not able to complete the transaction and I need to pay, or if I need to get into a mortgage? At what point do you engage me to tell me these are the other costs that you shall incur in this transaction?
This comes in as I'll take the first one, the exit, and then I'll come to the costs. As far as exit is concerned, this should come in the letter of offer, and more substantively in the agreement for sale. The letter of offer can just mention as to how, in the event that any of the two parties is unable to complete their end of the transaction, how the parties will exit the arrangement. And this is going to be more specifically provided for in the agreement for sale. What is an agreement for sale? An agreement for sale is a document between the seller and the purchaser. And essentially, the agreement for sale is stipulating the rights and the obligations of each party, the seller and the purchaser. One of the key obligations of the purchaser in a sale transaction is to pay the purchase price and the modalities of how this purchase price is going to be paid. Are you going to pay 10% deposit and then the remaining 90% after 60 days, 30 days, 90 days? Is it a cash transaction? Are you going to pay by cash? Or are you going to go to a bank and you'll be financed by housing finance or whichever other institution that there is? This is going to come into the agreement for sale. In respect of the vendor or the seller, one of the key obligations of the seller in an agreement for sale is to provide what is called the completion documents. And for the completion documents, the seller must provide the original title upon the payment of the purchase price. They must provide the transfer instrument, and they also provide the clearances and consents to enable you as a purchaser to now take all those documents, go to the lands registry and effect registration, and you have a title in your name.
One of the issues our viewers from the diaspora have raised is that they're finding it very difficult to purchase land in Kenya. What are the issues and who can help them?
For the person who is in diaspora, it is not very, very difficult for them to purchase land.
But it is not very, very easy.
Yes, I agree. It is not because of the logistics and what have you. What can happen is that the person who is in diaspora can have someone who is following up everything.
But the people who follow up your last down here, the ones who finish you, that's what they are telling us.
So what they can do, they get a good lawyer, and the good lawyer is going to do the due diligence in the background search on behalf of this person who is in diaspora. When the documents are drafted, they are going to be sent to the person who is in diaspora, and that person will sign the documents, say in Canada or in the US, and they are going to sign the documents before, say, a notary public. And once the documents are signed, they come back to the lawyer in Kenya, and they are signed by the other party, and you proceed with the registration process just as normal. As far as the funds transfer is concerned, you just transfer the funds electronically. So it's not much of a challenge. The only point that you encounter a challenge is if that person does not have a Kenyan PIN certificate. If that person does not have a Kenyan PIN certificate,
he left here 30 years ago.
Yes, that is not the challenge. If you don't have, as a person in diaspora, a Kenyan PIN certificate or a PIN number at that, what you need to do is that you have to start the process of procuring a PIN certificate at KRA. Nancy, what I'm telling Kenyans today is simply this. When you're starting off the process of purchasing land, ensure that you have a lawyer. For what reason? This lawyer is going to protect your interests, and they are going to ensure that your best interests are put into place in the entire transaction, and there's some sort of a guarantee that eventually you're going to get a good title. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
At the end of the show, we will share with you the legal guidelines on plot ownership.